What's going on, everyone? Adam here, the host of Cool Places with Cool People, and I got my boy today. I'm so excited that we were able to hook up down in Myriad today. We were in the Wellness and More. Thank you, Jennifer, for letting us use your place. I really appreciate it. But my boy Harry is changing the game when it comes to writing books for children. You know, everyone's all up in the famous stuff and stuff like that, but anti-bullying is such a huge thing, and we're just so happy to be able to do this podcast with you, man, to kind of share the word of what you're doing in the community. And it's I think the reason we were able to hook up so well because we're kind of on the same wavelength when it comes to that, dude.
Absolutely.
Sweet,
Absolutely.
man. So obviously everyone's going to start the same question out like we just talked about with the podcast. What was the inspiration of these books? And I know we have 3 right now, and the goal is to get to 5. So
Get to 5, yeah.
So what was the reasoning on writing your first one, man?
So just to give you a background, writing this first book, it's really close to my heart because it had to do with my daughter.
Okay.
She has astigmatism before she was 5 years old, so that was kind of young, at a young age, to wear some glasses at that time. And so she was excited to go to school. She had her backpack ready. She had her lunch ready. I mean, honestly, as a father, my heart was like, I was really happy for her. And she was like, "Yes, Daddy, let's go. And so she was excited. I dropped her off. I ended up picking her up, and she didn't say nothing at first, but I noticed that she had a different demeanor about her. And then later on, when we were at brushing our teeth together, because that's what we usually do, she says, "Daddy, do I have to go to school tomorrow?" And I was like, well, I kind of knew. And I was like, why? Well, why do you say that for? And she says, well, I just don't feel like going. And so I didn't push it. I didn't pressure her. So I got her into bed, and then she was just like, I don't want to go to school. And I was just like, well, tell me what happened today. And they said, kids will call me Four Eyes. Or they said that you're so young that I don't think you're supposed to wear glasses. And so it kind of broke my heart at that time, but I didn't react, right? I was just like, well, let's just go to school again, and don't worry about, I didn't give her advice or anything, but I just told her, I go, everything will be fine. Those kids would not say that no more. I did bring the attention to the principal and stuff like that, what I could do as a parent, but you could only do so much as a parent. So after that, I did my own research and went to Barnes & Nobles and seeing what was out there for anti-bullying. And there was not a lot out there. There was a lot of Disney books,
of course,
things of that nature. Right. But there was not anything that was particularly for kindergarten to 6th grade about bullying that would help her out. And so I took the initiative of me, doing music and writing music to come up with a plan and write this book. I did not know what I was doing at first. I never wrote a book before. But I did a lot of research, and, I picked an elephant because it's a non-threatening animal, and that's kind of like how my daughter is. If you see her, she's so cute, and she wears these big pink glasses, and she's full of life. And you would wonder, why would someone say that about her, right? But then I started to not just go because of her. I started to think, like, how does the whole world think about this? And how about if I'm not the only parent, right? And so I just came up with the plan and said, hey, well, I'll just write a story. It didn't have illustrations to it. It didn't have anything to it. I just wrote the whole thing, and it turns out it was really good. And my wife was like, that's a good story. Yeah. I don't have illustrations to back it up. And so what do you vision? So I used to own a t-shirt company at the time.
Dude, you're a man of all trades, real estate agent, writing rap lines, book art, T-shirts.
Right. So we owned a t-shirt company. It was pretty big. And at the time, we had different artists that were doing prints for our shirts. And I asked this graffiti artist, he was a graffiti artist, that's why we hired him to do our shirts. And I asked him if we were able to use him, if you were able to want to do an anti-bullying book with me. And he says, well, let me draw the sketch out. So when he drew the sketch out, he drew that elephant that you see right in front. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Will you be willing to do this? This is for anti-bullying. It's a good thing. I will pay you the same thing you're paying to do these shirts. He says yes, right? We got ahead and did it. He drew it to what I wrote first, and I had to approve every page and be like, okay, this is my vision for each and every page. and he did it really, really wonderful. And that's Phil that's on there right now, the illustration. He went on to do comic books and be really successful right now on his own. He does Comic-Con and all these other things. And but being with him was really spectacular. I didn't know what I was gonna do, to how to publish it and go about what I needed to do, but I know that if I had a backer or a partner, I'm blessed to have really good friends in the industry. And one of the friends that I had that backed me was a really my business partner right now is Rob Owens, and he's very successful. He owned Bumpbox. I don't know if you guys know that. It's a media company, so he's hooked up with like T.I. and all these celebrities from T.I. to the whole across the region for the whole NFL. I mean, you name it, they sponsor his thing. So we partnered up and we did this, and we said that why don't we do grassrooted ourselves and print out what we need to do. And it turns out when we did it, we had an interview with Parents Magazine, which is a pretty big magazine. For sure. They wrote this amazing article about the book. It became really awesome. After that, everything just took off, and they were like, well, we want the next one. What about the next one? So we decided, him and I, to do a 5-book series, and it just was really blessed to be able to do this and help people out. I became a public speaker, not only at my kids' school, but other schools in Central Valley to hear. I'm invited to schools that are bully-stricken, schools that have that are known to having kids to get bullied at the school. So I'm there doing public speaking events for 1,200 kids. I also do just different events. I also do different stuff for anti-bullying. So it's really been really beneficial, not because of how popular it got because of money. It's because of how popular it got because of what awareness we're spreading. And that's kind of more of the currency that I was looking for instead of the money part. Money part will always come with different things that I do, but I think the currency was just seeing people happy and knowing the difference and seeing how just reaching one kid could make a difference. And doing the public speaking events, I seen all the kids reacting to what I read, because I read it live, and they all react really awesome about it, and especially kids. I'm partnered up with the DARE program in Central Valley to do speaking events and things of that nature. But yeah, it's been really busy. Gladys Glasses was one of the huge books I did. I signed a deal with a glasses company that sells glasses that sell the book for kids that don't want to wear glasses.
Awesome.
And I went out of that realm of like, hey, let's see what goes out of the box. Willie's Wheelchair is partnered up with the NWBA. They're my partners for the wheelchair basketball, who support by Obama and Prince Harry and everybody. They own that book.
Nice.
The cyberbullying book I'm working on now that I'm on Raps about, I'm hooked up with the Silicon Valley company that's going to take it on. And they're all doing this because it's pushing that awareness.
Obviously.
And then helping them as well. But then it also helps the kids that don't want to wear the glasses to be able to go, hey, here's the book with the glasses, so your kid doesn't have to feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. So you obviously dropped your first book in 2016,
right?
You know, and the reason you wrote it because your daughter, she was 5, right?
Right.
And now, 4 years later, she's 9 now. Does she now process the journey that has happened because of her?
Absolutely. She loves it so much. She's
you know what? Next podcast, we're having her on here. Yeah. I don't even want Harry. I actually need her.
She's so cute. She's became this. She doesn't like it. She doesn't know, but she made a front cover of this magazine that I did, and I always put her on her face. I have pictures on my phone that you can see that they want her instead of me. And the events that I do book signings at, they want her. So the package deal, when I do these public speaker events, they want her. So it's hard to get me out of her class and do all those things. But my wife gives me permission to do that.
That a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think what's crazy is like the reason why I really want to have this podcast with you. And I think the thing that kind of, you know, why we've been able to be so impactful lately is that it just shows like for every negative thing in life, you can change it into a positive.
Absolutely.
And if you believe in something so much, literally the sky's the limit. And like you said, like you had no idea how to write a book. You had no idea. Like, I wrote some raps, but I don't know how to draw, right?
Right.
But it's funny how all the pieces start like coming in. You know what I mean? And then I truly believe this is that the rapping, the art, t-shirts, all happened to you for this.
Right. It was a culmination.
It's all like all of a sudden, wow, I look back. I mean, I know the phrase or the quote that everyone has heard from Steve Jobs said, like, our life is full of dots and the only way we can see how they connect is when we look backwards.
Right.
And so it's
Love
like,
that
it's
quote.
crazy
Love
for
that quote.
you that it's like, oh my God, in a moment of your daughter being so upset. And as a father, I'm not a father, but I have nieces and nephews, and a lot of people reach out to me and you feel so helpless because there's nothing you were going to say that night that was going to help her.
No, there wasn't.
There was nothing you can say. You know what I mean?
I wasn't going to try. I wasn't going to fix it.
No, there's no way you're going to fix it. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let me take this idea to the next level. And then now we're on a level where now you have 3 books and 2 more coming out.
Right.
So what is it, something that you feel for you that is continue to push you to spread the word?
Can I be honest?
Of course. If you're going to lie to me,
Right.
there's no reason to do this, right?
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It's going to be, so I have friends that have kids, children, and some of them that I know, I don't want to say their name,
course
but
not.
these are just samples
Yeah.
of people that have committed suicide because of bullying, and specifically cyberbullying. That I have this book that's coming out. It's called Cyrus the Cyberbully. And I took that long to do that one is because it was so close to my heart, and I know that's what people are going through. You see it in the media outlets about kids, you know, committing suicide. I can't go to a high school and tell these grown kids to stop bullying, but I could kind of change the minds when they're kindergarten, 6th grade, or at least try. And I remember when I was a kid and there was a DARE event that was going on, and it really stuck to my heart when, you know, they said, you know, gave you a shirt and said, hey, don't do drugs, right? You know, you just remember the phrase drug abuse resistant education, and it's resident with, I mean, it stays with me until this day. And I feel like if I do the same thing for anti-bullying, what they did for DARE programs and going to school and spread that same awareness, that I'll spark the brain of a kid to not to bully themselves or stand up for somebody who is getting bullied. And that's my thing. If I do it for one person, then I think that I did my job. And if I don't do a good job, at least I'm spreading the word as I'm doing so. So that's the only thing I could really ask for.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize is that we live in the greatest and worst time of life, right? It's so great because you can connect with so many people. Like, we're able to push our positivity so much more because it's so easy, right? But negativity is also so easy to get in,
Right.
You know, and that's the thing that people don't realize is that even for guys like us, like we put ourselves out so much that we also get negativity back.
Right,
And what
absolutely.
sucks is that I'm 32. How old are you, Harry?
I am 40.
You look great for 40, right? But the problem is that
Thank you.
if I could go back and tell the 12-year-old Adam
Yeah.
that like none of this is gonna matter, and that and because I've really pushed, I really feel this confidence is what separates everyone from taking stuff to the next level. That's the only thing that separates me and you. We're so confident in what we believe in that we're not worried if someone says something bad about us.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right.
That's it.
Right.
It's all it is. And what sucks is that it takes so long to get that confidence.
Right.
And it's so, you have to only listen to the right people that it's like, if I can give some kid confidence, that's how I look at it.
Love it.
That's it. That's all. And that's what I feel like these books are doing. I'm just giving you confidence to wear those glasses. I'm just giving you confidence to be in that wheelchair. I'm just giving you confidence. It's okay. That's
Love
all.
it.
And that's what it is, man. And
that's exactly, dude. I never heard any of the people that interviewed. I mean, I interviewed me thousands of times, but for you to hit it right on the head like that, what you just said, was a different approach of how I really feel.
Yeah.
Like you really like took whatever I was feeling that I was trying to do, exactly what you just said. It was exactly what I was trying to do.
And it's true, because the moment you give that person confidence when they walk in with glasses on, they're untouchable at that point.
Right. What do you think on my social media outlets? I have these ladies and guys that are taking pictures with these books. They were all bullied, but do they look like they were bullied?
Exactly.
A lot of people don't know the concept of why I have that. I don't know if you see my website, but there's these women that are like just all together. They're now, and I always put their whatever they are now. And I'm like, well, they were bullied. These are examples of people that were bullied, but look, they gone through it. So that means you can too. And that's why I got a lot of flack. But like, why do you put these people on your thing and they all look beautiful and all doing all these things and they all support the book? And I go, no offense, but they were all bullied. Like, if not, they had somebody close to them that had to get bullied, and they're here supporting that, and they're showing kids that are getting bullied that these people that are on here supporting these books are people that have your back. So it just gives, again, like what you said, it just gives them more confidence.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is, like, I've never dropped this on a podcast, but we're talking about stuff like growing up, like literally, and this is something that not a lot of people know, but like I have dyslexia. I have a 7th grade reading level.
Did not know that.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm able to build this massive company. And you don't tell me, when I was a kid, the scariest thing ever when I was a kid was getting called on in class to read something. I would rather have jumped off a cliff. Right? And because I knew people would make fun of me. And so it's like, I'm very lucky that I grew out of that, because, and I was so, whatever you want to call it, but that's something that people don't realize. Like, I know my niece and nephew have something. And so, and I can see when they get frustrated, and I have to go sit down with them and go, dude, I have the same thing you have. And look at Uncle Adam now. And
what
it's just
inspiration, though,
exactly.
man.
And that's what we're trying to do, is inspire people. You know
what
what
does
I mean?
that say about you, though? That says that you have that, and then becoming who you are now.
Exactly.
So how much inspiration can you give a person?
Well, that's what we're here to do, is inspire people, man.
Very awesome, man.
Well, I mean, look at you, man. We were talking before the podcast. You were also used to be a real estate agent, right?
Loved it,
right? You're in the game, and
Right.
then the economy shifted, and then you shifted, right?
Right.
And there's so many people that could have just like gone down and out, right? But you're like, no, what's the next thing?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna do the next thing.
Well, I don't know if I could say this on your podcast, but
You can
I'm
say
gonna
whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm a believer in God.
Yeah, me too.
And I believe that if he's totally in control, and when I try to take control of my whole life, that I always fall flat in my face.
Well, he loves beating me down. Loves beating me down.
Until I go.
The moment I just go.
Until I surrender and go, okay, what do you want me to do? And he gives me these people. He puts people in my life, and I'm like, wow, how do I mean, not so much utilize them, but why are they in my life? Like you come in fruition that this is happening, and it's all this positiveness that's going on, and then we're spreading this awareness, and then seeing how you kind of shared with me was kind of more inspiring to me. And I could leave with saying the fact that, wow, Adam's a freaking this entrepreneur that has all these things, but he was dealing with that the whole time. And I'm like, wow, so what does that say about that I should gives us inspiration to go out and go, wow, we got to work harder.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that like, for me, I feel like if like I don't do that every day, and probably if you like only wrote one book and not wrote, it's like, how many people are you missing out on?
Absolutely.
Right. So do you have, so we have idea 4 for the book. Do we have an idea 5
Yes,
yet?
I do.
What's
I
number
do.
5?
And this one's close to my heart.
Yeah.
And I kind of shared this because I did a public speaking event here, actually.
Yeah.
I know. And it's called it's being on the other side of the tracks.
Okay.
So I grew up not the wealthiest person.
Got
so
it.
I don't know if you know this, but was there Payless back then?
Yeah.
There was Payless, but they were called Pro Wings.
No, I don't know that.
Okay, so I have a pair of Pro Wings, and I got bullied for that. Like, so this is more for what I experienced too. And it was because I couldn't afford the Jordans.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford the Nikes.
I still can't afford the Jordans. What are you talking about, dude? People are rocking Yeezys. I'm like,
So-
I know how much those things are. What are you doing?
So I have, the alligator. I couldn't afford the polo. I mean, I went to the thrift store not because it was cool and people go to like the thrift store because it's cool. You can get good stuff, but I went there because we had to as a kid growing up. So, and you get judged for that. And it's not just my own experience, but I see it every day. Like, kids get bullied because, oh, you don't have the new Jordans, you have the Jordan 1s or Jordan 2s. Those came out like, 4 years ago. But I'm like, how does that even, how can you ever say that has anything to do with the person? Like, something that you wear that identifies who they are as a person. It just boggles me.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I have a lot of discussions with people that are kind of in our position, that want to do some big stuff. And I sit down and dinner with them, and I look at them, and I look their outfit over, and I'm like, the reason why you don't have a podcast, because you don't have the money, right? And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. Why don't you have a videographer like I do? Because I don't have the money. Okay, you're wearing like $700 worth of clothes right now. I'm like, those shoes were $500, weren't they? Yeah, those jeans, $200, and that outfit, and then your glasses. I'm like, $5 t-shirt, $50 bands, and half off at the Nordstrom's rack.
For real,
right?
Dude, my Nordstrom rack is my jam.
It's the jam. If you're not hitting Nordstrom's rack up, there's deals there.
No, Ross is my I'm the guy that goes to the rich neighborhoods to go to the Ross because I know none of them are buying that stuff.
Exactly. That's when you get the deals. But that's the thing, is that it's like, what's more important to you at that point?
Right.
And I tell those guys, I'm like, I'm trying to do so much. No one cares what kind of clothes I'm wearing. Right. And that's the problem with kids, is that it's like, that's the only way they know to judge each other at this point in life. Right. That's like currency. They don't have bank accounts.
Right.
It's currency.
Right. And I had to teach my son this is like $500, $200, $400, but then how much in your bank account goes that? Yeah. But if you have $20, these are Gap. I mean, I think they're a Gap, or even like outlet. And then and you get like a $20 shirt, and I'm like, well, I don't care. I know what I have. You know what I mean? Or so it's really.
But it goes back to what? Confidence.
Right.
And that's what's so funny. I wrap everything back to confidence, man. And it's like, that's why for me, like, that's the only thing I push on people. Right. And that's why, like, I'll literally randomly text people, you're awesome. Right. And I'll just text them like, you're awesome. I hope you know that today. And or I'll demon people like, you're keep crushing it. Right. And because it's so easy to talk trash when it's like, dude, these people are like trying. Absolutely. And if they're trying, dude, that's all I care. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, I'll help anyone.
Right. Absolutely.
Because it's like, what's one person that wants one person that wants one person?
Absolutely.
And that's the reason we're doing all these videos and stuff. Absolutely. I hope one person watches this podcast and goes, I understand these guys, or I need to do this now to help someone.
Well, they're gonna look at it and see what you shared today and be like, man, this guy's the real deal.
So, do we have a launch date yet for your cyberbullying book yet? Or no?
I do. It's gonna be sometime next year. We're looking at the summer of next year. For the cyberbullying, we're just trying to get it perfected the way I wanted it to be, because it's so. I want to say for right now, it needs to be good. Yeah. And it needs to reach out to these to children, and it has to be to what. So I'm going to different educators and letting them read the book, and that's how important it is to me to see if it would impact the kids.
And then so after obviously you guys are doing a 5-book series. Like, do you already know, like, every time you do a podcast or whatever, people go, well, in the next 5 years, do you have an idea what you want to do after the book series?
Absolutely. I have a deal with I'm doing. Do you know Shel Silverstein?
I don't.
Well, do you? Okay, you do, right? So I'm a big fan of his, and I have books that I wrote that are similar to his books, and they're like poem books, and they're black and white. And so I'm doing that. I'm a big fan of The Giving Tree. Okay. And I'm doing stuff like that. And then that's gonna be moved on from the anti-bullying books that I'm doing. I'm pretty sure after the 5-book series, I'm kind of going to do workbooks for these and transition them to be educational books for kids, and try to move them in California for doing an anti-bullying month, and for them to do a workbook on each of the books for kids to get a certificate in for October. And I'm trying to work that deal with the educators and the school programs that they have here, especially I'm working with 46 schools to give every child a chance, and having one of these books for October for them to finish, and having a workbook after to not let them pass unless they get a certificate in doing this.
Nice.
And that's something that I'm working on right now.
Nice. Well, you know us. If there's anything we can do to help,
Right.
we're here for you, man.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you have all those things, and and obviously you're trying to do something that if you told someone like, I'm gonna write a kid's book for anti-bullying, what has been the journey for you and the ups and downs of pushing this book out? Because it obviously wasn't like I wrote the first story. Phil came in, did some great art. Ryan, Mr. Owens hooked us up with the money, and we just sold all of them. Obviously, that's not how it worked.
Because I'm gonna give you the I never shared this with you, but I always wanted to because everybody always took it out. But I know that you're.
I don't take anything out.
My
team edits enough stuff that we don't need.
So man, people thought I was crazy doing that.
For sure, I believe it. People think this is crazy. What are you talking about?
So when I first came out with this, they were like, "You writing a book?
Yeah.
Out of all people?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have a writing degree, bro. Like, you don't even read yourself."
Yeah. You're like, I haven't read a book in years, but I'm writing one.
Right. No, I'm not joking.
Yeah, I believe
I'm not joking. So, something. Can I add to this? Many things that happened when I wrote these books. I got this job as I write for a magazine because of these books. These books brought me a lot of stuff that I didn't go. I have an Anthony Bourdain job now because of these books. Nice. I go to different restaurants and I write I don't do a Yelp ad, but I write about the owners and stuff like that. So they send me to the hip spots, and it's called because I'm an author. It's like a celebrity going to.
First off, why are you not doing podcasts at these restaurants with the owners?
That's why I was like, dude, I would hook you up so bad with some of these owners. You know what I mean?
Dude, we
can
do it. We could do that.
You know what I want to do is give you all my contacts that I do this with. Afterwards,
we'll bring the team in. I know this is a side note, business now. Let's bring the team in, and we can do that.
I just did this restaurant that was down where you guys are going, Old Town, spectacular culinary restaurant, and I was doing a thing on them. I'm like, someone should record these people. Yeah, they're doing such a good because they hired at-risk children to be chefs. At their restaurant. You should be doing podcasts. We're starting a podcast. Adrian, you're on it. Right. Take notes down. Right. Yeah. And why don't I do? Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Done. That's how deals happen, people. Right. Okay, so go on. Okay, so I do that, and then hey, you're exactly right. Why can't we do podcasts? They would be open about it because I already got the door in. You're already there. Yeah. You're just gonna take what you're writing and just interview the people. Right. No, I want you to do it. No, I'm giving them to you. No. You're better. You know that world better. No. So, I just write for write for what I'm like, if I like the establishment, but I talk about like who they are as people. I don't like writing like, oh yeah, they have great creme brulees here. Yeah. Like, I'm not that person. I'm more like, well, his family came here. He was by himself, or he was an immigrant, you know what I mean? And he turned something to something, something like that. Their more story. Right. Yeah. The real in-depth story. I don't like the food ad. Like, I could write a Yelp ad anywhere. So, but it just turned a lot of good things. So to tag along, what I'm saying was, thought I was completely crazy. My wife thought I was completely crazy. She said, "What are you doing?" I hate to brag, but I was making for real estate deals, for each deal I was making. I mean, I was making some cheddar. Yeah, and I don't want to throw numbers.
Yeah, especially up in the Bay Area.
So I'm flipping $2.2 million houses off of 3%. Sometimes I'm front and back. I'm the seller and the buyer, and I'm
You're
representing both.
You're doing all right for yourself.
Yeah. So I'm in that realm, right? Yeah. And my wife said, "You're gonna give that up?" Because this is right before I was doing it at home, and she was like, I was like, yeah, I want to have substance. Like, not that anybody in real estate. I love real estate. Don't get me wrong. I still sell real estate now. Yeah. Like, if I only for my family. Yeah. But, I wanted something for myself.
There's no depth to it, and that's the thing that people don't realize is that it doesn't matter how much deals you do or whatever you do, how much money you make. Right. It's so like on the surface. Shallow. It's just like shallow, and it goes back to like I don't need the $200 shoes to feel good about myself.
Well, do you want to know what happened to me? I mean, I never expressed this either. I was getting to the point where I wasn't even happy. I was making all that money. I had to go fill the void with something else.
Exactly.
Like, it's a continuous like okay, so I got the you get the nice ride, right? The 750. Yeah. I need a better one.
Now you need a better car,
Right,
better watch.
watch. Yeah, I had every Rolex, right?
Yeah.
Now and then it gave me the sense of like, well, I need to hang out more, or
Yeah.
I have to go out. Now it became I was being desensitized to like drinking and things of that nature because I closed a big deal, and then that turns into something else, and then that turns into something else.
I would say that's the thing people don't realize in real estate. It's a dangerous game, and people do not realize it until they get into it. It takes a lot of self-control because you can make so much money if you work really hard, and then you just kind of come numb. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nothing excites you anymore.
Right.
Like, it sounds awful. I don't even get excited. I'm closing a deal today. I'm not even excited because it's like, okay, off to the next one.
Right.
Off to the next one.
And you're so established, and you're so.
And that's why we did the podcast.
Right.
This is what we were talking about before. This is something I can look forward to. Where I'm
you don't even trip out. Like
No.
you do a listing, you post your listings, and I do follow you, and you have your for sale sign up, and you're like, okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Others people would die for that listing and be
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is my listing, and it's my post. Everybody else, you're like, oh.
Yeah,
all right.
and then I post right after that a video,
Right.
you know, like saying like I don't care how many deals I do, and you shouldn't either because that's not who I am.
Well, that list that you had, there was one day that you had all this list in the company that you work for, but you were like, well, that's not the center of what I
No, it's
want
not.
to do.
I'm me.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're doing bigger things than just selling houses.
Right.
And I think that's why we've hooked up so well is that we both are realizing like there's two people that have loud voices that are doing some epic things in the community that it's like I have to team up with him.
Absolutely.
Like when it was funny. It was literally Jen told me about you.
Yeah.
I walked in. We bumped into each other.
I went there because of you.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, well, Jen told me that she's going to meet you,
Yeah.
and I said, I'll make my way over there, and I'll bump into
Yeah,
him.
and then we bump in, and then literally,
Right.
2 seconds later, I'm like, you're going to do a podcast?
Well, that was not,
Text
that
me
was
like,
on purpose.
Oh, thank you. Right? But then it was like, dude, I'm like, okay, let's do a podcast. And then you're like, what? Maybe an hour later, like, I have a spot.
Right.
Okay, cool, we'll be there.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that was orchestrated because Jen was like, hey, you should do it. He interviews like this gym client that she was showing me that you did, and I'm like, wow, because I thought it was real estate that you were doing. I got lost in the thing, and I went and I looked at your page, and it was some gym owner.
Yeah.
That you did. I'm like, and then I looked down more further, and it was some other guy.
We've never done a podcast about real estate.
Yeah, and they never did. There was nothing on real estate. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Now, then I'll go over there.
Yes.
So I said, oh, meeting him she's meeting you there at 9:30. I said, I'll be there 10 minutes, and then I'll leave.
Yeah.
But then I'll shake my hand and tell him I want to be in the podcast. Yeah.
And I'm so happy we were able to do this, man. So we're at that point, man. I'm super excited I got to sit down with you. I'm so excited that we dropped some stuff on this podcast that you said no one else has ever interviewed you before.
Right. No, I never, because they would not, it was always politically correct. I can't say certain stuff.
There's no
and I always had somebody that was in the crowd telling me I couldn't say it.
No. Literally, and I'm just happy we were able to break through that because, and that's what's kind of worries me, to be honest, that if this ever does blow up, I never want that to change.
I don't.
You know what I mean? It's like Rogan's show.
I
like
love that
Rogan's
show,
show
by
is
the way.
like so like
off
the cuff, and he doesn't care.
Freaking love that
and
show.
that's why, just take a little note. That's why I don't take money from anyone.
Right.
I want no one to control me.
Right.
That's why like no one will ever be able to pay me.
That Elon Musk interview was
fire.
That was probably what I was like. This is my jam.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, the sad part is I watched him from the get go.
Yeah.
But that one right there, I was like, man. He opens people up. Open Elon Musk up like that.
That genius. But Elon was like analyzing every question, and then he would talk. Right. But man, I'm super excited to see where you're going, and I'm very excited that we were able to team up because I know you're 40, I'm 32. We have so much long to go, and I think we're going to change a lot of lives. And I'm super excited that we can team up on some more things, man. So thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey, I'm really. It's a pleasure, Adam. Like you're really doing great stuff, and I'm really happy that you had me on here.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So until next time, guys. Peace.